I'm too nervous. No worries. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, we'll walk behind you.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. No, I'm old. Oh, that's no. Yeah.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Would you be willing to do a quick interview?
I'm sorry?
Would you be willing to do
Hand me down.
I'm not exactly eloquent, but
How you doing,
I'll
sir?
make it work.
I got it.
Okay. We're not live.
okay.
We are live.
Oh dear.
Do you have a receiver?
I'll kind of get,
You're 84, right? Because you got the cute hair. I tried to do mine like yours, but I didn't do a great job with it.
Close enough. I mean, can you do me a favor? Can you, would you be able to come just a little bit closer?
Yeah, those of us who got here early were putting up chairs and stuff. I brought a little one.
Okay.
Not taking too much space.
You're going to look at me the whole time. Can you say and spell your first and last name?
Rosemary Serpa, S-E-R-P-A.
Okay, Rosemary's one?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a sign here that says, no Bannon, no KKK, no fastest, USA, flush the toilet. Can you tell me a little bit about what the sign means?
Well, all of this negative, racist, misogynistic energy needs to go. It needs to go. There's no room for it in the United States. Back at the end of the 1960s, I've been protesting for 50 years, so back at the end of the 1960s, everything kind of went under a rock, and people thought it went away because it got quiet. And I knew it hadn't gone. It had just been hiding. And of course now, all of that white supremacist Nazi, put all the labels together, they're all in one kettle, has been emboldened, and we just can't let that happen. There are more of us, I really believe in my heart, there are more of us that are kind, loving human beings, and we don't want, this is not our America. What we're seeing is an American nightmare, and too many people have fought so hard for our rights over the decades. We can't let this happen. We've got to stop it. 2018 is on the way.
So do you feel like Steve Bannon represents all of these things?
That and more.
And how so?
Well, he has the audacity to just about completely demean anyone who is not a white male. I don't know how else to say it. He has the audacity to try to do this in the name of Christianity. I spell that with a small c for these supposed Christians, because there's nothing Christian about their behavior. The most recent, I think it was either last evening or earlier today, he even had the audacity to support Moore, who was a pedophile, amongst many other misogynistic and racist problems that he has, and say that it was okay because Mary was 14 when she married Joseph, so it's okay.
So are you out here as it's not a protest, but more so of a rally? Are you with any group, or are you out here by yourself?
Well, I'm kind of a bunch of groups, Indivisible, Charleston, and I'm kind of like on everybody's list. Any of us and all of us that are trying to, take our country back, but peacefully through love, and just say, we're here, and we're not going away. You need to go away.
And how do you feel about the Republican Society inviting him here to Charleston and them having the right to be able to do so?
I'm disgusted. I know we all have the right to free speech, but sadly I'm disgusted because I thought better of the Citadel. I'm a retired teacher, and I've had students, move on from high school to the Citadel. and they're good and honorable kids. And to think that there are that many cadets who really support this terrible agenda. I mean, it's an abomination. And I'm ashamed where part of the world is laughing at us and part of the world is horrified. This is just an abomination, and I'm sure our forefathers that established this country, I'm just as horrified as I am.
Are you a Charleston native?
No.
Where are you from?
Originally from Massachusetts, lived in New Hampshire for a while, but I've been in Charleston since '92. So I have a transplant accent, can you tell?
Yeah, just a little bit. Oh, thank you, Rosemary.
Sure.
Can you just grab that right here? Just hang on to it.
You know, and I always put it that way. I've been a South Carolina citizen longer than you've been alive. Yeah. Hello, Charleston NAACP. Welcome. Happy to see you. No Bannon, no KKK, no fascist USA. 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 All right, that was really good.
I gotta go tell you. Look at this. I know. That's how it is. And then it's like party night. All of those people want to be here. All of them want to be here tonight. That's awesome. There's some all over the world. Well, you know, gotta bring them with us. That's the kid. That's fine. What's your name? Patricia. Are you here with the NAACP? That's Surge. That's me. That's Coalition. Oh, dear God. I know. I told her I tried to cut mine like hers, but yours is better. Mine didn't come out as well. You know what? You've got thicker hair than I do.
Yeah.
So mine is kind of thin.
Get little pieces.
But I got it all going up in there.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Sassy.
I'm old, but I still, still crazy up a little more than I would. I am here because I am against fascism. I am against racism. And I'm supposed to we hope to just basically educate and stand together and unify. You say that how to set that kind of value.
Why are you guys moving?
The media tent is there. The facility where they're doing it. Ah, good point. The point of the spear. Come on.
Where you guys going?
Did you know the core values of the Citadel is honor, duty, and respect? And they are honoring Bannon. Hey, unbelievable, unbelievable.
What are the core values of the Citadel? They are honor, duty, and respect. And who are they honoring tonight? A man of hate. No respect for other people. Why would you honor someone like Steve Bannon who has no respect? And he won't even honor the code of the Citadel.
First black woman mayor in Charlotte. I was raised in Charlotte from here. Fantastic. Yes, there was. Yes. Well, the press did come over early on. That was amazing. Amazing. Yeah, kind of curse with grumpy. And then even the night before the election,
It's not quite that cool. Yeah.
Bam! I remember going to bed a year ago and wake up in tears. I didn't either. I isolated. I didn't bathe. And Bannon, oh, I know it. Is a pedophile.
I know it.
And the Citadel is honoring him.
Bannon supports a pedophile. Why would the Citadel honor Steve Bannon, who supports a pedophile? Why, in God's name?
I mean, really?
Realize how
No Bannon, no KKK, no fascist USA. 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 No Bannon, no KKK, no fascist USA.
and the ability to take photos of people going in, that's attaching on the city and the Citadel's part. It's a very manipulative tactic. It's very ugly. Right here, the point of the spear, where the video is, where the photographers are, and where the people go into the event, where they can hear you and see you. You see what I mean? And this is a very manipulative tactic. Typically, it's consistent. You've got the permits around here on a long list. You see what I mean?
We need an interview with a veteran. A veteran? Does anyone want to interview a veteran?
Who's
veterans here? Anyone up for a veteran interview?
Because they've been manipulated and used by the people who gave them a permit. They got a permit. Way over there.
What better opportunity than to interview a veteran? We have a couple right here.
I'm right in front of you, dear.
Can you hear me? Media, would anyone like to interview a veteran?
That's the whole thing.
They don't want to interview.
I'm trying to tell folks that David Bannon is over there. Whoever issued the permit manipulated the people to get them over there, away from your cameras, away from your sidelines and earshot.
No one wants to interview a veteran?
We will.
Because this, I'm saying, because of the day.
That's the city of Charleston.
I want to ask the media, why would you not interview a veteran?
Why is she yelling at me?
We'll take a lap.
I didn't think that was my
Would you like to interview a veteran?
Give us just a moment. We'll do it in a little bit. But I do have one question. Because like your sign says liar, racist, Bannon, misogyny, evil, monster, vile, right? So what in particular, like, can you remember a quote or something that Bannon has said that makes you feel this way? Well, I'm asking you, and then I want to do a separate story.
I already been interviewed.
By ABC News 4?
This is...
I don't remember speaking to you, so that's why I'm just asking. So when we can give this your sign some kind of context.
Now, what's the question again?
What exactly has he said in the past or recent here that makes him a liar, a misogynist, racist, evil, monster, vile?
He's supporting a pedophile. He's against the code of the Citadel, honor, respect. I feel that Steve Bannon is a racist. And
but what makes you feel that way? Like, what statements in particular has he said before that makes you feel that he is these things?
Okay. I'll call out many, and I'm going to think about that.
Okay.
One of my favorite ones, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and I'll use the megaphone. That will give you some materials.
Well, we won't be able to hear it on the megaphone, but I'm just asking.
I'll be back.
Okay. So I'm covering the rally here today, and I'm asking kind of more like specific questions because you said this face of hate, very bad acne as well. So I'm trying to say what comments in particular from Bannon make you all believe that he is a racist and he's a misogynist, and I'm just hoping somebody can provide an answer.
Why do you feel he's racist?
What has he said specifically that to you, like you've
have
heard?
to actually let me pull my phone out.
Not all the time. I'm here all night.
He has literally made comments that, I mean...
Can you come a little closer?
I'm sorry, like, I literally lost track of the amount of hateful comments that he's made. The amount of, you know... I mean, I can't even put it into words. I mean, but you don't even have to even try to describe him. You just need to listen to him. I mean, you just let him speak. He says who he is. He shows you who he is. I mean, we're not out here, protesting someone who's honorable, someone who is, who's built on unifying the country. We are literally protesting a white nationalist, a white supremacist.
Can you tell me about like maybe a recent speech in particular that's especially made you feel this way?
In particular,
I'm not the write the friggin' newsletter.
I mean,
look it up.
I mean,
I'm asking you for. I don't want to speak for you, so that's why I'm asking you.
I literally have lost count of the offensive comments that have been made. I mean, just from the likes of Spencer all the way through to Bannon, to our own, well, I won't say president because he's not my president, but I've lost count. I mean, it's not like I can sit here and we're not making this stuff up. You know, we're here because there is a lack of integrity that came out of the White House that in my lifetime I never thought I would see. We are returning to a time where, as a former teacher, I never thought we would see again. I mean, Nazis, skinheads, the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, we know the Ku Klux Klan never went anywhere. I know that. But at the same time, I never thought we would literally have to ask questions. Is it okay to punch a Nazi? Yeah, it's okay. A Nazi is a Nazi. We won a war, a world war against them. Why are Nazis here in 2017? This is, and I understand your question, but at the same time, it answers itself if you just literally listen to everything that he said, some of the policies that he's helped to push.
I was just wondering if there was one in particular.
There's not anything in particular. It's just the entire fact of the supremacy, the whole fact behind that he believes that he has this elitism, this supremacy over minorities. The fact that he was pushing to deport hundreds of thousands of dreamers who have done nothing but brought good things to this country. One of the things that really sticks out to me, if you really want to know what upset me the most, is when the man that they consider to be the president of the United States said after Charlottesville there were some good people and there were some bad people on both sides.
Bannon didn't say that. That was
No,
Trump.
he didn't. But at the end of the day, if you asking me for a comment that really got me fired up, that was one of the main comments. That wasn't the only one. You know, we have a president that said it's okay to grab them by the throat. I mean, if that's not enough to get you out here to hold signs to oppose anybody that supports him, I don't know what else to say.
Can I ask you a question? I work with Megan. When did you first remember the name Steve Bannon?
I mean, I can't really recollect. Unlike them, I can't say something that's untrue because I don't remember the exact date.
Do you remember? I mean, do you remember running the Breitbart website? Because he got a lot of press on that, and then when he started running President Trump's campaign.
Yeah, I did start doing some research on, you know, we can call it news media if you want to, but that's not really what it is.
Since it pays my kids' tuition, yes, let's please call it that.
Well, no, not you guys. What he came from is what I'm saying.
Oh,
that's propaganda. That was not news.
Yes.
So, yeah, I did do a lot. I did do some research, and then I looked at the roots. You know, apple is an apple, an orange is an orange. So at the end of the day, I mean, he speaks. You listen. There's no denying what he is. There's no denying what he believes in. There's no denying which side he prefers. There's no denying that he is here to divide the country. I mean, you're asking questions that, if you look and listen, the answer's right there. It's very clear. It's very apparent.
Are you rallying with any particular group, or are you rallying by yourself as an individual?
Several groups. We have several groups. We've got, tell every group that we're with. We got Moms Demand Action, Indivisible Midlands, Our Revolution, Uptown Rising. We have a ton of groups. It's literally a whole.
I just wondering which.
Yeah, it's all. We are. I actually volunteer and participate with all of those groups, and it's about 4 or 5 carloads of us representing all of those groups that came from Columbia in my sector. We have people coming from all over. We actually have somebody that said they drove in from Virginia. So this is powerful. This is what we're here for. We're here showing you that people of different ethnicities, ages, demographics are all here. This is what America looks like.
And you said you were a former teacher. Where did you teach at?
I taught in Columbia, South Carolina. And I actually taught special education. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here. Because that particular group of children, they were always bullied. They were always disenfranchised. They were always targeted. So I taught and I fought for them. And so it was just natural to come and fight for the country. I fought for the kids in the classroom and outside of the classroom. Now I'm fighting for those same kids across this country. And I'm fighting for people who are, I guess, too timid to fight for themselves, who don't know how to fight for themselves. So some of us are here on the front lines and others are behind us working just as hard. But we're all here because we want our country back.
So the speech is going to be happening here shortly. So what do you want to hear from the Citadel going forward, knowing that the speech is happening and he will speak to this group here at the Citadel? As a person who's rallying against this, what do you want to see going
I've
forward?
actually reached out to the Citadel's Public Relations Department and the Citadel's the Citadel's Public Relations Department, and they sent me what I would consider a novel response, literally pages of response that basically state that they do not support or endorse. They simply rented out a space to a student group. So they stated that they don't support it. At the end of the day, a public institution, I feel like the public, our opinions and our thoughts should take place because public funds help support the Citadel. So I don't feel like someone who's coming here with hate speech, not free speech, there's a difference. What Mr. Bannon says on an average day would get any one of us fired at any job. Any military personnel would be fired, would be discharged for doing half of the stuff that he said. So there's a difference between free speech and hate speech. I wish the Citadel and a lot of other organizations would come to realize hate speech, free speech, two different things.
Okay. So there seems to be a mix of protesters and ralliers here in the crowd. So I see the gentleman back there doesn't seem to have the same message that you do. So how do you guys feel about those who are...
Why don't you ask them?
I'm asking you. I'm trying to get both sides, ma'am. Which gentleman?
No, I mean, you need to ask them.
Yeah.
I work this report.
Yeah.
Ask them. Don't ask her.
Bannon's no more representative than that guy with the Confederate flag standing in the street.
But is he a Bannon supporter?
I'm not certain. I saw his sign. It says a little something, a different message, and I was just wondering.
I don't hate
Which one?
The one back there with the gray hat on.
Oh, he said, I don't hate you, but I don't want you spreading hate in my community.
No.
I don't think there are many Bannon supporters on this side of the set.
Gray hat? No, not him. Not
The
him.
anti-photo sign?
Gray
Get him! Chicken bang!
Okay, sir, you have an interesting sign here. It says, Wendell Gilliard and his band of fascist, racist bigots will never shut me up. Sir, what does your sign mean?
Well, it means that Congressman Wendell Gilliard, who plays the race card every day for every matter, on any event, however big or small, where anybody disagrees with him, it might be
using 18.
No, I was talking about it.
yeah.
Well, this is the rally side, so he's on the right side.
And that's what I'm talking about. No, actually, I don't need to be anywhere. What I need to be able to do is to speak, is to answer this lady's question without you interfering.
On the wrong side of the road.
No, I'm not a bad person. I'm a free speech person. I'm a person who speaks my piece without rude people interrupting me. That's what I'm here for, is to be able to speak without rude bigots of whatever persuasion interrupting me. Oh! Yeah.
Bigots.
Well, what do you call it?
On that side, sir. He's on the wrong side.
Officer. Captain.
Wrong side.
Where's Michelle?
Other side of the road, sir.
Racism with you.
Because of what you
Serve it up on the platter.
And I'm not answering. This lady was with a question to anybody.
Why do you think he's a bigot?
Because I think you are, because of the way you're speaking to me.
I asked you a question.
I'm not answering your question. Officer, these people are, but they are attacking me.
When they go low, we go high. Get out of there.
Yep.
Don't engage. Take your racism sandwich and go. Oh my God.
She is in the Citadel, so that girl right there, she's not the meeting.
No, she's no.
No. I wasn't talking about you. The lady.
I wondered where you went.
All right, I want to let everybody know.
Oh, okay.
So
I wondered where she went.
No.
Well, Dean's around here someplace.
Take that Confederate flag down out the Capitol. It's hypocrisy. Rose up. That flag down from the Capitol. You and Bannon both.
Listen, I appreciate everybody that's over here, zealous and everything. Elaine, everybody, y'all listen up. This is not the rally point. The rally point's over there. Okay? We're not going to be in an antagonistic, like, okay, we're going to yell over there at them.
They want you over there. We're waiting for the media. We're waiting for the bad guys that are going to this event.
And the link, and they got the links over here. It's sunset.
Okay, then let them use it. Right on.
Yes, sir. We'll go over there.
Let them use it.
This idea, when the sunset comes, you won't have the lights.
I'm good with that, huh?
The lights are over here. The sunset.
You have lights.
You got lights? Great.
You have lights.
Okay, we're going to go there.
Shame the people walking in here. Don't you want them to hear your voice? Don't you want the media to see you collectively?
Really want to stick to the context of that 30 minutes? Not everybody. Well, why don't you go over and ask the people that are going in there, no, if you want the other side, then go to the other side. Okay, then be a journalist. Don't pick out somebody who is
Who would like to speak out? Hello, media. Here's a Vietnam vet who would like to speak to you. Would you like to speak to a Vietnam vet? Okay.
Just 1 second.
I didn't go to Vietnam. I was in during that veteran. I just want to make that clear.
You're a veteran.
Yeah.
You're a veteran. Well, happy Veterans Day and thank you for your
Thank you.
service.
Yeah,
Thank you.
veterans. I thought you were really a cool guy.
Thank you.
The media will follow you, okay? But the one who said that.
So we'll probably ask your name and spell it.
Sure.
All right, so you're going to, which side do you want me to stand on? Okay. Okay. You're going to look at me the whole time and ignore the camera, okay?
Okay, sure.
Can you say your first and last name?
Sure. Thomas Meservey.
Okay, can you spell your last name for me?
Meservey.
Well, thank you for your service again and happy Veterans Day to you.
My pleasure.
So you have a sign that says, "We will not stand for racism" in Charleston. So tell me what brought you out here this evening.
Well, I have been a part of Indivisible Charleston now almost from its inception, and I just believe that we are all equal. We all have equal rights, and if we don't come out and exercise those rights, especially our First Amendment right, then they will be trampled on, and I'm just not going to stand for that. That's what I served in the military for, to uphold, partly for the First Amendment. That we are a free people and we have the right to speak our minds.
So how do you feel about Steve Bannon's visit here to the Citadel?
Well, Steve Bannon has had a long history of demagoguery, of racism, of white supremacy views, and I just don't feel there's any part in the United States for that. Our government has partially, through Donald Trump, torn this country apart. We are now divided. We used to be able to, Republicans and Democrats used to be able to sit down after everything was said and done and have a good dinner and talk and laugh. That's not happening anymore. Through the meanness and the nasty things that have been said, that we're getting further and further apart, and we just can't stand that. We are all one people. We all should have one common goal, and that's for a United States.
So is there any statements here in the recent past that Steve Bannon has said that really stand out to you that you're against?
No, I wasn't expecting that question. No, there really isn't. It's just that his line of thinking and my line of thinking just not aligned.
So the Citadel well, it hasn't necessarily said this, but the conversation has been that they have the right to invite whomever they like to speak to their group. Not the Citadel, but the Republican Society, rather, has the right to invite who they like to speak. So freedom of speech kind of is a dual street, goes both ways.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
And so what would you like to see going forward, even though everyone does have the right to have that free speech and the rights that you said you fought for?
But then again,
well, I think here is the thing. What Steve Bannon stands for is obviously not what the rest of America stands for. I always have subscribed to this, that if you walk like a duck and you talk like a duck and you look like a duck and you act like a duck, then probably you're a duck. If the Citadel Republican Society has had him in to speak to them, then they must want to hear what he has to say. He has not ever said anything that I wanted to hear, but they seem to feel that he is going to say things that they want to hear. That kind of makes them subscribing to what his views are.
And as we continue our coverage of the rally, what would be your message to those cadets that invited him to speak at the Citadel?
That we will not stand for hate in Charleston. We will not. We lived through the Emanuel 9 and we did just fine because people pulled together. And we will do the same thing here. This is going to be peaceful. It's going to show the rest of the country that Charleston can do this with dignity.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to have you say, you said Thomas Missouri, right?
Right.
Can you spell your last name one more time for me?
Meservey.
Thank you, Mr. Missouri.
Thank you.
You say B-E-Y?
B-E-Y.
How old are you?
I'm 75.
How you doing?
What branch of the military did you serve in?
Navy.
22 and a half
Hey,
years.
I'm going to stay on this side of things.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you.
Right quick. Caitlin's going to
Jason, did you get to talk to him ahead of time or no? Before anybody?
no, I wasn't looking to talk to Bannon.
Is that you or somebody from the Republicans? Or somebody, yeah.
We can even share a glass
Pastor
of
Dixon,
bourbon.
I understand the Republican Society invited you to come speak.
No. I had an email conversation, if you want to call it a conversation. It was one email that was exchanged between myself and Chairman Brown. And he sent me an email. I responded. He said that, if I'd like to come and address the Republican Society anytime that I want to, that's available. If we want to sit down and talk. Basically, we had put out, myself, Elder Johnson, and Wendell Gilliard had put out the word that we really do want to open up a dialogue, not only with them, but also with the administration here, because there are too many ongoing problems that we can actually fix if we sit to the table. And we haven't been able to get to the table with understanding that we need to work together in order to solve these problems. So the situation with Cameron was, I think that he might have done an interview where he called it a conversation that we had, but the reality is I've never met him.
So the message here today is the message you were saying earlier this week, and that it's just to have a conversation about the thought process as well, right?
Yes, that's part of it. But also to make sure that we are that the nation knows, that everybody knows that we have a right to express our freedom of speech. Everybody.
Now you seem to pull the folks away from this area and kind of pull them back that way, away from where the speech is going to take place. Tell me a little bit why you decided to do that.
The message has always been one of non-confrontation, one of nonviolence, and one of peace. As of right here, all we have is people that are going to get their emotions amped up as they look over there, as they see people going in and they're yelling and screaming and carrying on. And that's not what this is about. This is about a peace move. This is about how we bring unity. This is how we express ourselves as a community and still manage to keep that anger that might be seething underneath under control, so we don't become like the other places. Okay?
Okay, and then Brother Elder Johnson standing here beside you with NAN, National Action Network. and we have a number of groups out here. How do you feel so far about the number of groups traveling? I've met someone as far as from Columbia so far out here today.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot more than we see right now. From the phone calls that I have all the way from North Carolina, I think the people is fed up with the hate and the division in this whole country, and that's all Bannon do, bringing division here. And the Citadel itself, 2 years ago, you know that they had 6 cadets weighing the KKK heads here. 2 years ago, when National Action Network addressed that, all that this do is open up that wound and rubbing salt in it. The administration of this college should know better than that. We're just coming off Emanuel 9, the 9 people that get killed in the church. Walter Scott and this community have had enough of excitement. They bringing Bannon here, even bring more excitement to this community, and we don't need that right now.
Thank you so much.
We are so at the precipice of another civil war that we're not allowed to talk politics at all. We can't say anything in press. Nothing.
I bring up her name.
That's the truth.
I am not talking about Martin Luther King and not talking about her name.
We can't. We're not allowed to.
The newspaper. Being locked up. Oh, yes. But I want to get pictures of you guys. Oh, gosh. Well, my name is Shannon. And last name is Moses. A-N-A-U-T.
Testing, 1, 2. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Pastor Jeremy Records, how you doing? All right, Representative Vineyard. Demetri, how you doing? Born in the USA, that's where we are. Now there's some people here who are trying to get folks to go over there. That's not where the rally point is. So if anybody approaches you and talks about going and standing over there, I'm going to tell you like they said in The Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That is and will be the rally point. We will have speakers speaking from this point, and we will get our point across because we were all what? Not only born in the universe,
No, not yet. Perfect. So many people have said dodging politics.
Excellent. For what's going on with the chairs, okay? I know it's a lot of young folks out here who think they are older. But the reality is these chairs up front are for our seniors and for those with disabilities, okay? Because everybody ain't spry like they used to be in their limbs. But right here, and when it comes to revolution, and when it comes to resistance, there is no age limit. We just define it. Thank you.
Which side are you on? Well, yeah, the police asked me which side I'm
and the leader of the protest agrees with that tactic. You think that's leadership? Look a hate racist in the eye.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start by myself, and then I'm gonna turn around. And then, my name's Megan Rivers. And then I'm gonna turn around and we're gonna have a little chit chat for a few. Okay? All right. All right. And I think this is streaming simultaneously on Facebook Live as well. Just an FYI. Oh, okay. Temperature's dropping, isn't it? I know. We're gonna freeze to death out here. Is that all you have on? Oh, I have a coat in the car. I left my gloves in the car. What? I left my gloves in my car. Oh, in your car. Caitlin. Well, Dean, this rally is going on right behind me right now. You can hear music playing and songs being said. There are a number of people who have signs up as well with a number of different messages, and the crowd is a little blended. There's a few people who don't have the exact same message as the majority of these people at this rally. Of the leaders here, I've seen Elder Johnson with the National Action Network, Pastor Thomas Dixon, and in the distance I can see Representative Wendell Gilliard back there speaking with a few folks as well. I'm joined now with Tony, who has a sign that says fascism is not patriotism. So tell me, what brought you out here to this rally tonight?
I wanted to be able to come out here and use my voice to show that I am not in support of Bannon being here in Charleston. I'm not in support of him being anywhere. What he preaches is vitriol, is terrible. We are one country, we are a great country, and he wants to tear us down. He wants to take away all of our institutions that we have, and he's said that, and he's a white supremacist, and I am not okay with any of it. So I'm out here just doing my little tiny bit to say that this is not okay and not here.
Is there anything in particular, like one comment in particular you can think of that he said that has really rubbed you the wrong way?
Off the top of my head, I can't.
Okay. Ma'am, can you tell me your name, please?
Yes, my name is Missy. Steve Bannon, his publication Breitbart, he went on record to say that Breitbart is the voice of the alt-right. So we know that that's sort of a figurehead and a platform for white supremacy and a lot of the hate groups. And so for him to have publicly aligned himself with that, and obviously the publication speaks for itself, I think that we can't deny that he is in support of hate and we are in support of love. And I think especially with our history here in Charleston, there's no room for hate.
Thank you so much, Missy. Again, this rally is underway right now. They are calling it a peaceful rally. We'll continue to stay out here with them and see what transpires from this rally. Working for you, Megan Rivers, ABC News 4.
Existing and starting
If anybody has banners, okay, you know we couldn't put them on the sticks or whatever in order to mount them, but anybody that has a banner, an organizational banner, a big love or peace banner, quiet. Big love and peace banner, you're more than welcome to join us right here if you don't mind standing and holding them up. All banners can be represented right up here with us if you'd like. The way the picture is, as folks take pictures this way, they'll be able to see all of the banners. Okay? All right. We're going to go about one more tune. It's on and popping.
All things ain't what they used to be like. Radiation underground in the sky. Animals and birds who live among us. All things ain't what they used to be.
I hate to turn the music down, but I'm going to turn it down just for a minute. But I see there's a couple of people who just don't understand that when you want to have a rally, you do the permit process in order to have it.
You do have a jacket.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I got the paper straight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. He's talking to Ab. So I don't even know.
I mean, I guess worst case scenario is send it back. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, if it's dark in the back, it'll be a little bit better. So the light up. Yeah, that would be fine. Actually, it'd be nice to get away from the generator.
Are you going to drop something out of your pocket out of your thing, or is it supposed to be open? I just wanted to warn you. I was afraid you're going to lose something.
Zip it a little bit.
Mom.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Everyone
Yeah,
once
so I think
kind of thing.
it is. So I think if we can. So if you guys are cool, I think we're going to rotate the cameras this way a little bit, just so that we get a slightly better background than that.
What do you want in the back?
What's that?
What do you want in the back? This or that?
This.
Okay.
No, rather than just put up a mic stand.
Yeah, so you're okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, is everyone just going to stand around with a mic? That's going to be a lot of people. I mean, I can put up a mic stand. Yeah. I don't think anyone else has a clamp though.
We might. Hey Josh, do we have a mic stand?
In the way of everybody else.
He's going to check. Alright, he's going to check. Oh, you're good, you're good. I'm not sure. We usually have like a mic stand and plants and stuff, but I don't know if he has it with his gear. Okay. He might not. I'll grab it. Okay. Do you have a clamp for this? No, I'm gonna be live. Yeah. Would you like to
Afterward, tried to shake her hand. She wouldn't shake my hand. She
Alrighty.
What are you doing here? Are you putting a stand-up or everyone is putting a live on?
I know, I don't know why.
I would just get your live, I guess, if that's what everyone else is doing.
Well, we need to make a decision.
It's not, I don't. I mean, if they're going with live, you might as well put the live on.
I can. No.
Anything nowadays.
Yeah, nothing in this life is free. And let's see how I can do this.
You'll go back around back and do the same thing.
Would you all mind if we kind of keep it,
Absolutely.
you know, right around here?
We don't want those mics just as much as you do.
I'm sucking in currently though. Let's see how this goes.
Is it cool if I clip onto that? Whoever's that is. Okay. Sorry to steal you from your bed.
No, it's fine. I do have like 10 minutes. So
I have to be live in time? So
that works well.
okay, everybody ready? Yep. All right, just say your name and spell it so we get it correct.
It's Cameron Brown, Cameron Brown.
Official title.
I'm the president of the Citadel Republican Society.
Okay, so why did you choose Steve Bannon to talk at this event?
Mr. Bannon was an integral part of this past election of President Donald J. Trump. We believe he's a very impressive, interesting, and unique speaker. Although there are plenty of people who do not completely agree with Mr. Bannon's actions or what he says, we do not believe that actually makes him a racist or an anti-Semite or any of the words that certain people decide to place upon the man. We believe tonight will be an incredible event, and we're honored to have Mr. Bannon come and speak.
And Mr.
Mr. Brown, seeing the people against the event standing across the street, what do you want them to know, or people in the community who might think this event is divisive for the city?
I would like everyone in the community to know that it's an incredible thing to have First Amendment rights. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech is a beautiful thing in this country, and it's hard to find that anywhere else, like we have it in America. I've actually recently reached out to Pastor Dixon, and we will be meeting sometime next week. And next semester, we've actually asked him to come in and speak to our club. We believe that freedom of speech should be known, and that everyone should truly understand what that means to not only our club, but this nation as well.
And speaking to some of the people out there, they say that Mr. Bannon spreads hate. Any response to that?
As of right now, no. Thank you. Sorry.
Does Mr. Bannon's values coincide with the values of the Citadel?
The Citadel and the Citadel Republican Society are two completely separate entities. The Citadel Republican Society did invite Mr. Bannon in to speak, but the Citadel holds true to its core values of honor, duty, and respect at all times. And that is an unwavering value set. So once again, we are two separate entities altogether.
And following that clarification, do his values fall in line with the Citadel Republican Society's views?
Like I said prior to, there are a few views that certain people within the Republican Society might not completely agree with. However, there are certain things that Mr. Bannon does believe in, the Republican Society does also truly believe in. We have a very diverse set of Republicans, and so completely across the entire spectrum, we believe that they have the right to believe in what they would like to believe in, and we want them to hear from all sides. So once again, it's an incredible thing to have Mr. Bannon in to speak, to kind of give his perspective and to listen to him and truly allow not only a few of our cadets, but our sponsors as well, to learn where he's coming from and how he was so integral in the success of President Donald J. Trump in this past election.
What do you think about this opening up the dialogue between groups that have never really been involved before?
Certain groups such as?
Like Pastor Dixon now is coming into the equation.
I think it's sad that it's just now happening. I think it's something that always should have occurred. And I think it's going to be our age, the millennial crowd, that's going to set the tone for not only the state of South Carolina, but this country, and moving forward with differences and learning how to actually unite under those differences and become stronger and progress as a society altogether.
Did you initiate the contact between you and Pastor?
Yes, ma'am.
In what form of communication?
Email. Yes, ma'am.
Anything else you want to add, Mr. Brown?
No, ma'am.
What are you hoping to get to hear from Mr. Bannon this evening?
Ms. Keeler?
I didn't hear.
I'm sorry.
Sorry to throw you off.
Well, sorry, just to say I apologize. I blanked for a second, but sorry, the question one more time.
What are you hoping to get out of the speech or to hear in particular tonight?
A different perspective. Honestly, across the board, there are plenty of different Republicans out there, plenty of different people with plenty of different political views. And so to have Mr. Bannon come in and speak and kind of express his thoughts and his purpose behind what occurred or what he did to help President Donald J. Trump get elected in this past election is going to be great to hear, especially for plenty of our sponsors who are actually here in support of Mr. Bannon, as is everyone else within the room.
You said your sponsors are here in support of Mr. Bannon?
There are certain people within the room that do support Mr. Bannon. Other people may just be here to listen to hear what he has to say.
Of your sponsors that support him, can you name them?
No, ma'am.
Anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am.
Like to say anything? All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoy the event.
Hope you have a great
so
night.
Much.
Thank you so much.
On mic, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You remain on mic until you're unhooked.
Okay.
Everybody got theirs back. We got 1 minute.
going to go ahead and take a live look at this event from inside. Lieutenant General Rosa, the president here at the Citadel, has said that the school does not support any particular reporting live at the Citadel. I realized I have a foot problem, like just out.
It is not about asking for forgiveness. It is not about bowing our heads in shame, because it all begins and ends here. While workers that are in the trenches get to go more.
Officers, you have to go all the way down to get in.
Yeah.
You got the cap might let you in. I don't know.
Yeah,
You can ask him.
yeah, 'cause I think there is a way to get in over there. Let me just check with the cat.
It is time to gather at the edge of the sea and toss reeds inward to this watery grave. And it is time to praise the judge.
Only because she's carrying that heavy
George
cab.
Stinney's name, 70 years after the fact. We honor him. Here, where the Confederate flag still hangs in the Citadel Summerall Chapel, haunted by our past, implicit about our future, and at the heart of it, we are.
You need some wheels for that.
I do. It's not heavy for like the first 5 minutes, but the next 2 hours it will be.
The governor! Fight it! Fight it! Fight it!
All right, I think we're fired up and ready to go. Reverend Rutledge, I would like to introduce the senior pastor of Circular Congregational Church in Charleston. And it's been a vital voice where I got to know him with Patron, Charleston Area Justice Ministry. Reverend Jeremy Rutledge.
Good evening, friends, and thank you for coming this evening. We stand tonight as a community united against hate. My name is Jeremy Rutledge, and I'm the pastor of Circular Congregational Church. And you know, hate has come to our town before, and we stand tonight to say that it is not welcome here. The speaker across the street from us has made a career out of peddling hatred and division. He and his organization have openly admired fascist thinkers. They have sown the seeds of racism and white supremacy. They have spoken in misogynistic ways deeply harmful to women. They have preached religious intolerance with anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim slurs. They have bullied lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. And we stand tonight to make clear that we reject all of these forms of hate. We stand to say that these times call for us to choose a side, and we choose the side of love. We gather as citizens committed to building a country where there is a place for all of us, every race, gender, sexual orientation, faith, philosophy, creed, and culture. We say that the diversity in this country is its true strength. And while we have a long way to go before we can make America great, we know our country is at its greatest when it makes a place for everyone. I stand as a pastor, a parent, and a citizen, but I also stand on the eve of Veterans Day as the grandson of one who fought fascism in Europe, having helped rid Germany of Nazism. My grandfather would have had no room for neo-Nazism right here at home. I invoke his memory and the memory of all who served in gratitude. And I ask that you join me in an opening prayer. I will pray in the way of my faith. With respect to our many faiths and philosophies, I ask that you join me in the way that is true to your own conscience. Will you join me? To the God whose name is love, we pray this night that love's light would shine more brightly than hate's dark. To the God whose name is peace, we pray this night that our peaceful example would be stronger than any violence. To the God whose name is freedom, we pray this night for the strength to stay in freedom's struggle around the world and here at home until every sister and brother is made welcome and all have what they need. Amen.
Our next speaker, we all know, he's a native Charlestonian. He's worked his life to make Charleston a better place. He's been a union organizer, he's been a city councilman, and now we call him Representative Wendell Gilliard.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to say good evening to everybody. It's good to be here. Now, I would be remiss, and I see my good friend George. George, you come on up. Me and George been together for almost 20-something years. And I saw Dr. Nelson Rivers. Doctor, you come on up because this is your backyard. You were born here. You have history here. And I asked the pastor to stand by me because he has a direct dial-up. You understand where I'm coming from? Yes. But ladies and gentlemen, first off, let's all pause and give thanks to the veterans who've given up their lives, the ones that are still serving. Let's take a moment of silence. Would you mind bowing your heads? Thank you. And just a footnote to that, we must also remember the 50 to 80,000 homeless veterans here in the greatest country in the world. And another footnote to that footnote, we must also remember the 20 veterans that we lose every day, per day, by suicide. That's the reality of it all. I say that to say this: how dare Steve Bannon come here after insulting the military? How dare he? Case in point, they owned member
whom I consider a war hero, and that's Senator McCain. You see, people, in the meeting that we called with the general, I asked the question, wouldn't it have been better if the Citadel Republican Society had brought somebody down here like a Senator McCain, the war hero, one of your own, one of our own? Because if they had done that, I would have been at the table. And you know why I'm telling you that? Because McCain is telling us what reality is in Washington. Listen to some of his comments. He knows that the president is incompetent. He knows that the former chief strategist was always incompetent. Listen to McCain. You give credit and respect where it's due. Now, what was appalling to us in that meeting, and notice I say us, because no man and no woman is an island. But what was appalling to us, that we had found out it was the group, the young people, that brought him down here and welcomed him to the Citadel. Now at the Citadel, you have almost 3,000 students, ladies and gentlemen, and in that mix, there are about 10% African Americans. We have Jewish brothers and sisters, Latinos. That was an insult to them. That was an insult. And I'm going to tell you why. Why this is so important that you understand this, that we took out of that meeting. We're not going to hate the society for bringing Bannon down. We're not going to hate. You know why? Those are our young people. They have to go out into the world. They will become our community leaders, our CEOs, our businessmen and women. It's dangerous. And we don't know what type of atmosphere that Mr. Bannon is going to leave when he leaves that ceremony tonight, if you want to call it that. And I'm going to leave you with this. Dr. King once said, evil triumphs, only triumphs, when good men and good women do nothing. We do nothing. When you look around this crowd, I can almost point out 1,000 other people should have been here tonight, because you put them in office to be your voices, to be your representatives. Now you either put them there as for the moment or a movement. The difference is, in a movement, you have to sacrifice time. You have to sacrifice with commitment. We have to get out here and register people to vote. Vote. You have to, because if we don't, we're just holding these rallies just to hear ourselves and signifying nothing. When that Walter Scott situation went down, along with the mother Emmanuel, that was not a moment for us. That was a movement. That was a movement. We have to understand that. We have to grasp the moment. Washington has been compromised by the NRA and has been compromised by the chief strategist who's no longer there anymore. And now the whole world is under siege because of our poor leadership. Jesus Christ, man, I don't care if Donald Duck was in office, at least he got common sense. And we have to understand that. The leaders, we need leadership in Washington. We need leadership at all levels of government if we're going to turn this thing around. People, it ain't about black or white. This is a human thing. This is about the survival of our country, the most powerful country in the world. And everybody wonder why we got serious looks on our face. They've seen the bodies. They get the phone calls. they have to make the commitment. That's how serious this is. Mr. Steve Bannon is not welcome in Charleston, South Carolina. That's the bottom line. Go back, take your hate, take your homophobic, take your anti-Semite, take your racism, and you go where the sun don't shine, because we, the people, we are the voices of not only Charleston, but the state of South Carolina. And I'm ashamed of my government. I'm ashamed of the governor. He should not be at that table tonight. You remember that at the polls. You remember that at the polls. That's an insult. That's an insult to Mother Emanuel. That's an insult to Walter Scott. That's an insult to the Americans. That's an insult to all you women out here. Insult. So let's get real. Let's get serious. If we're going to make a difference, we have to sacrifice. And this is considered a movement and not a moment. God bless you all.
Let me take just a couple of words, because it's hard coming after that, to tell you about our next speaker. He's been a friend of mine for years. He's a historian, a professor, an author, an activist, and the list goes on. And he's a good man. Damon Fordham.
First of all, I'm glad to see all of you out here tonight. But I want to start out by saying that as we speak, Mr. Bannon is in there right now with not only the current governor, but also one of the current gubernatorial candidates. Now it seems to me that if Mr. Bannon says, as he did on October the 10th of this year, that he is with war with the Republican establishment, then it seems to me that if he's at war with the Republican establishment, and the governor and the gubernatorial candidates are in there, they need to be right out here with us. Now, of course, that is the case only if you use reason and logic. But we know that that's in short supply these days. But if we who profess to have reason and logic do not speak out when this nation is lacking in both, then our beloved United States of America will soon be ancient Rome 2 at a theater near you. Now, while we are here, it's important to understand, as Dr. King said in his last book, Where Do We Go From Here?, that whenever we deal with our opponents, we must be as armed with knowledge as they. So it's not enough to just simply say, we don't like Steve Bannon because he's a racist. No, we have to show and prove that we know what we're talking about. According to the Los Angeles Times of December the 9th, 2016, Mr. Bannon described himself as the Leni Riefenstahl of the GOP. Now, for those of you who don't know, Leni Riefenstahl was the filmographer for the Nazi Party in Germany back in the 1930s. What a comparison. While Mr. Bannon has in fact denounced Richard Spencer, he has supported such groups and people such as the anti-immigration French National Front, the German Alternative for Deutschland, and the Philippine dictator Rodrigo Duterte. This is according to the Daily Beast of November the 13th, 2016. Mr. Bannon, as many of you know, was also the editor of Breitbart, which he himself has described as the platform for the alternative right. And under his tenure as publisher, they have published articles with titles such as this: Bill Kristol, Republican Spoiler and Renegade Jew. That's on May the 15th, 2016. There is no hiring bias against women in tech. They just suck at interviews. That was on July the 1st, 2016. Would you rather your child have feminism or cancer? That is on February the 19th, 2016. Oh, and get this, and forgive me, these are his words, not mine. Gabby Gifford, the gun movement's human shield on March the 8th, 2015. Now you could argue that he may not have said these things himself, but if you are an editor of a website or a magazine and you allow that kind of thing to be put in there without any rebuttal, what does that say about you? Now, we must be mindful that a century ago in our state, men whose names were once glorified, who spoke a message of hatred against blacks and immigrants, were were considered the leaders of that time because they were popular at the moment. Men like Benjamin Tillman, Coleman Blaze, Cotton Ed Smith, who led the state down the dark path of Jim Crow. These men are either remembered in disgrace today or have been forgotten into the ash heap of history. This should serve as a reminder that those who receive the cheap applause of today may be scorned and disgraced tomorrow. And finally, to those who ask, why don't you protest when other blacks kill each other? I close with these 5 words. We can, we have, and we do. Thank you.
Okay, why are we here? We're here because Bannon is here spewing his hate. We're here to show our love. Love for our city, love for our country, love as a community. That's why we're here. Just a reminder, I want to let you know. Our next speaker is a phenomenal woman that I've met fairly recently. She created a group called Knowledge Erases Hate. I knew it in my head, but I had to look down. I hate that. Knowledge Erases Hate. It's a really cool group. It meets in Charleston and Columbia. She is the mother of 2 sons, little boys. She is graduating from her nursing program tonight. So I'd like to introduce, before she has to get back to work, Aisha Miller. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Look at all these beautiful people. Thank you for coming. And lineup of speakers tonight. It's an honor to be a part of it. What a shame that the Citadel didn't invite us to speak. I think we could have sold them out. I'm here in part to represent and advocate for the Muslim community, yes, but more than that, I'm here to do what I always do, which is to advocate for humanity as a whole. As I've expressed many times before, we must all come together and fight for each other and get offended and indignant when another marginalized group is treated unfairly, the same way we do when it's our own group. Steve Bannon is the leader of the alt-right movement, the same movement of people who shouted anti-Semitic chants in Charlottesville, beat a young African-American man with metal poles, and viciously murdered a young woman by running over her. He thrives on fear tactics and labeling people like me and you as the other, as outsiders who want to do harm to the Christian white majority or take something away from them, and that's just not the case. We have a group here in Charleston called Knowledge Erases Hate. And on the flip side of that, falsehoods and fear breed hate. The idea that in order for one person or one group of people to be free, another must be oppressed, or that if some receive justice, another group must be mistreated, is just not true. This kind of propaganda instills fear into people and puts them into a frenzy to take rights from others and make sure they have them for themselves and their children. But the fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is enough freedom and justice for all. For African Americans, Muslims, Jews, women, and LGBTQIA individuals to be treated fairly does not mean that anyone else will not be. There is room. I'm going to go off script for 1 minute before I end. And say, please, white people and people who more easily fit in with the majority, stay involved. Keep showing up. Because when I'm asked to do things like this and speak at events like this, I have to think about things that some of you might not have to think about. And there's always a little voice inside my head that says, don't do it. Just stay at home. Don't make a spectacle of yourself or put yourself in any extra risk or, but I do it anyway. And I thank you for all of you who come out every Saturday. And in the words of the beautiful and intelligent Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high.
What's happening, y'all? What's happening, y'all? Y'all all right? Y'all fired up? Y'all want to make some noise? Oh, tell me what's happening, brother? Yes, yes. Y'all want to make some noise? Why y'all so quiet? Why y'all so subdued? You know, peace don't mean you're quiet. Peace means that you can actually get loose. You can get a little live. You can show the fact that you can show your love through your messaging. So we need to get an understanding, okay? What I want to say right now, I want to say this publicly, okay? Because right now there's some folks who just don't understand about this unity thing and want to do their own thing. I'm not going to get in the middle of that, okay? But I am going to say this publicly because, and it's not a political thing or whatever, but I just want to know, everybody here to know the reality of it. Y'all know I'm running for mayor of North Charleston in 2019, right? Now, not to say that anything won't happen, and I respect the fact that they want to go over there and do their thing, but I guarantee you, if this event goes bad, in 2019, my opponents are going to use that against me. I'm going to let that sink in. And the people right there don't care, because I asked them and I posed it to them. So we're going to stay here and do what we do.
Well, that's right, Dean. There are a few hundred people standing out here at this rally right now. Right now, Pastor Dixon is up speaking to the crowd. We've already heard from a number of people, including Representative Wendell Gilliard. There's been some authors that have spoken as well. There's actually a few cadets from the Citadel who are a part of this peaceful rally as well. They say that they're not allowed to speak on camera, and I asked them if they were in support of what the folks here at this rally are saying, and they say that yes, in fact, they are, and they do oppose the Bannon visit. Now, joined with me now is Reverend Dr. Kylon Middleton, good friend of the late Clementa Pinckney. You spoke at his funeral, and he was a good friend of yours. And one message that's coming from this rally is, that this is an insult to those victims of Emanuel 9. So, how does this Bannon visit make you feel here in Charleston?
Well, certainly I think we need to move beyond Bannon, because anyone is welcome anywhere in America, and certainly Charleston is the holy city that we should be with open arms welcoming individuals who come from wherever in the country, whether they believe what we believe, whether they think the way we think, or whether they have our political leanings the way that we believe. And so I don't know how the individuals who died at Mother Emanuel would view these type protests and rallies. I think that their lives were grounded in peace, and we too should be seeking peace in our society and using the energies that we are captivating in this time in our history toward a greater common purpose, to build bridges that begin to unite and draw people together, as opposed to further polarizing and dividing us. And I think that rallies like this tonight serve a purpose, in the sense that it does galvanize the unity of individuals who think a certain way, but at the same token, we then need to channel that and turn that into positive energy whereby our activism can begin to move us closer to the achieved objectives that we hope to accomplish. I think that Steve Bannon is still over there speaking, and so we did not deter him from doing that. But at the same token, it is my prayer that we have peace, and in all things that we're building bridges and not necessarily further dividing.
Long list of speakers here tonight. You're slated to be one of those. Is that the message that you'll spread if you speak to this crowd? That's the message that I would certainly spread. Let us use our energies to build bridges of peace, and certainly where there is unity, there is strength. So certainly that is something that I would advocate for and support, but at the same token, I think that we ought to use those energies in order to raise our city, raise our state, and raise our nation toward a greater common purpose. And, Bannon's visit is, like you said, is happening as we speak now. And to those who don't know how to channel those frustrations they have with this visit, what would you say that or suggest that they should do?
Well, again, a specific group invited him, and that's their right. And so certainly I don't know if there is anything that we can do specifically as it relates to that, but at the same token, the ideology that is embedded. So last year we had students at the Citadel who were dressed up supposedly as ghosts or something for for Halloween, and that issue was never really resolved or dealt with. We have the Confederate flag still flying in Summerall Chapel. We had someone dressed up like Freddie Gray running through the Black Student Union carnival at the College of Charleston. So there is an ideology that exists that needs to be addressed in a very positive, very dialogical way, but at the same token, I think that we should move toward those type conversations where we're sitting people together down and understanding the mindsets and the ideologies that begin to keep individuals in those silos and begin to educate them so that they might then be able to see something a little differently.
Okay, thank you, Brother Middleton. And again, we'll stay out here with this rally and continue to see what the folks are talking about and how these speeches are going. I'm going to send things back over to Dean.
On the shoulders of those who came and fought before us, and we stand with the love of those who are yet to come. We stand, and we stand for the rights of any American to sleep in safety and wake up in hope. Service, we stand for justice, a level playing field, and livable wages. We stand for constitutional rights, the rule of law, and the worth and the dignity of all people. And Mr. Bannon, if he heard those words, he would say they were weak words. He would say I was weak for saying them. Justice, compassion, dignity, service, But be assured, Mr. Bannon, our words are forged in fire. And our words are strong as steel because we stand for equal as you. Out of the many, we are one. And this one, we stand to say, no, 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 let it go, no, 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 I told you she was great. Okay, we'll keep it right here. Our next speaker reluctantly is filling in, and we so appreciate it. He is the president of the Alliance for Full Acceptance. That's a brand new spot for him. Very proud of him in taking on that job. Chase Glenn.
Reluctantly took on this spot tonight. I was thinking maybe it would be good to go towards the top because maybe there wouldn't be so much of a precedent set for really inspiring words, but I was wrong. We've already had a lot of great things said tonight, and I can only echo what's already been said. My name is Chase Glenn. I'm the Executive Director at AFA, the Alliance for Full Acceptance. And while we work specifically with the LGBTQ community, we are for all communities. We work for all communities, and we're here to support all communities. You know, we're not a political organization, but because of the way that marginalized communities have been affected by this current administration and by some of the policies and handiwork of Steve Bannon, it requires us to get a little dirty sometimes and talk about things that are a little uncomfortable. You know, this administration, just in the last year, has revoked guidance promoting the protection and dignity of transgender students. They've disqualified trans people from serving in our military. And under the guise of religious freedom, they've said that people can be discriminated against. Federal employees and government agencies can then discriminate people because of their orientation or gender identity, and there's no repercussions. You know, and this language and these actions that are coming out of this administration is creating an environment where it's okay to hate, where there's license to hate. It means that you can put on a polo shirt with a tiki torch and walk down the street and be a white supremacist, and no one is going to challenge you on that. It means you can own a bakery and you can refuse to bake a cake for a couple who just wants to get married. It means you can be a restaurant owner who wants to fire someone who happens to be transgender because you don't look like they want you to look. And they can look like our students who simply want access to the restrooms.
Huh? You want to stop all that anyways. You have to do a both sides for 6. 30. Can you call Matt?